In the past, people have actually thought spine surgery may lead to more pain. However, we met with patient Lynn Phillips, and though it's been 6 years since receiving the patented Bonati spine procedures, Lynn is still fully active and working diligently to shape the hearts and minds of the new generation.
I've lived in Vero Beach for almost 40 years now. I can't believe it. And I'm a high school counselor. I've been a high school counselor for 20 years. I was in business prior to that and changed careers. So I work with many high school students, and I teach GED at night, and I have another part-time job that I proctor ACT and SAT on Saturdays.
Over a decade ago, Lynn injured her back in a series of incidents. It was then that her pain levels started rising. And despite visiting with doctors from multiple facilities, no one was able to provide her with the answers she deserved.
I had injured my back moving, so the back pain just continued to get worse. And as it got worse, I tried physical therapy a couple of places. It just continued to get worse. I had cortisone shots, I did the epidurals, I did a decompression, and I had had a couple of MRIs. I went to a few doctors in Vero Beach, then I went to a doctor in Stewart, and I didn't know what else to do. So then I tried Duke University, and they wanted to give me a TENS unit. I said, no, I want to know what's wrong to fix it. And I wasn't really good at functioning anywhere. I had moved again a couple of times, and I couldn't do anything in my house. It just became more and more debilitating. In my lower back, it was the L4 and L5 area, and it just was stabbing, excruciating. You know, it just started out as pain, and it just got to where it was never comfortable. And it just continued and continued to get worse, even with all the things I was doing. I couldn't do anything at my house. I had a lounge chair inside and outside, and that was where I sat.
After numerous attempts at conservative treatments, Lynn's pain only worsened.
I tried physical therapy at first, and some techniques would help me get a little relief, but I couldn't stay on the floor in an arch position all the time. I'd put a rug down at work that I could try to do exercises during the day, and just laid at home as much as I could. Then they tried cortisone shots, which didn't do anything. I did an epidural, which didn't help. The decompression, I had a few treatments to try to relieve the disc, but they were trying to make the disc better, which that wasn't the problem. It was the broken bone, really, that was the problem. So nothing was helping, and I was just getting worse. It was going down my leg. My sciatica was horrible. I felt like my leg was numbing, so I was afraid that was going to get worse, so I had the nerve test to see. I was afraid I was going to have permanent damage in my leg.
This tragic cycle of failed attempts for relief continued until a coworker told Lynn about a new facility that had recently helped a member of her family.
I was at work one day, and one of my dear friends that I worked with, or colleagues, said, you know, my mother-in-law had surgery at this place and it really helped her. You know, it might help you. So I contacted Bonati and I still was in the process of going through physical therapy and seeing different doctors. I mean, people looked at me like I was crazy. You can't be in that much pain. Yeah, I can. I was on all kinds of medication and working and driving and trying to function like that.
As the Bonati Spine Institute has done with so many other patients, a surgeon reviewed Lynn's MRIs and confirmed that help was possible even before she stepped through the door.
I sent my MRI, and they said from that they could tell me if they could help me, and I'm leery of doctors from history, and to go to a surgeon, I was afraid they're just going to say they can do something when they can't. And after what I'd been through, but they were willing to look at it before I even came over to see if they could help. And it was the MRI that I had here that nobody had been able to see anything, and they said from the MRI that they could help, and they made an appointment like within a couple of days. And after that appointment, it was like the next week, I had 3 surgeries within a week. It's like Tuesday, Thursday, and Tuesday that I would have the surgeries. And I didn't have to stay in the hospital, so we stayed in a hotel. I walked out of recovery, which I was amazed, and got in the car to go to the hotel. And my sister was there through the whole thing, helping me through it. And I was awake through the surgeries, so they could tell if they were relieving the pain. So he would ask me, you know, does that help? Does that help? And it was amazing. I watched it, and it was nice to feel comfortable and that they were genuinely concerned about helping you, not like I was just another surgery or another number. And no one was ever hurried. They wanted to know how I felt, what was going on, what they could do. I mean, the nurse sat with me before I went into surgery and made sure I was comfortable and what can I get you, and they explained what was going to happen before I went in, so I knew what to expect and what was going on. And there was probably 6 or 8 people in the room when we had surgery, and they talked me through the whole thing. He explained what I was doing. There was no pain while I was going through surgery, even though I was awake. I was able, after the last surgery, it was like 3 days later, we left, and I got in the car. I'm just like 4 hours away, so we were able to drive home, and the drive over was horrible. I didn't know how I was gonna get over. My dad let us use his car so I could lay out, and I'd have to get out every so often. Coming back, it was better than the trip over. I was able to walk around. I was able to do things. I had not been able to do anything at my house.
Even today, Lynn remains unlimited in her activities. Those activities include sharing her experience with others and reassuring them that there is an answer and that one can again be pain-free.
I can do anything I want to now. I go to the gym. I work 16 hours a day. Now I can clean my house. I think the biggest thing, or what I like to try to get across to people that I tell my story, is not to go through years of being miserable and not being able to function. So many people have back issues and are not able to function. When I saw my friend Faye, I thought, oh my gosh, and she was to the point she couldn't do anything. To get your life back is incredible. And it just makes a big difference, but it's worth it.
To see more stories of recovery just like this, search for the Bonati Spine Institute on Roku, Google Play Store, Apple's App Store, and Amazon Fire TV.